let's talk about this. Some sad news, people. Sad news. Your boys in Sum 41 are breaking up. They made the announcement today, I guess, kind of out of the blue. They said, being in Sum 41 since 1996 brought us some of the best moments of our lives. We are forever grateful to our fans, both old and new, who have supported us in every way. It is hard to articulate the love and respect we have for all of you, and we wanted you to hear this from us first. Sum 41 will be disbanding. We will still be finishing all of our current upcoming tour dates this year, and we're looking forward to releasing our final album, Heaven: X: Hell. That sounds like the name of some PSP visual novel game, right? Like Heaven X Hell Blue Edition, and you have to get the red edition to complete the whole story. For those of you who are turbo nerds and know what a PSP visual novel is, along with a final worldwide headlining tour to celebrate. Details will be announced as we have them. So they're still doing at least 2 tours, and they're still releasing an album, but they have announced that they are breaking up. They didn't say why. It doesn't seem like there's any sort of, big dramatic thing going on. Sounds like things just kind of ran their course. Because, if it was really that bad, they wouldn't be finishing out these 2 tours, right? For now, we look forward to seeing all of you scum F words on the road and are excited for what the future will bring each of us. Thank you for the last 27 years of Sum 41. Yeah, we are tired, official quote, probably. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. And, when they say this, 27 years of Sum 41, my first reaction is there is no way that 1996 was 27 years ago, because if that was true, that would make me extremely old. And I don't want to be old, damn it. But unfortunately, that's the truth. And you think, 27 years, that's a long time to do anything. Can you imagine having the same job for 27 years? I don't agree with this. One last cash grab, farewell tour. I think that's a really cynical take. I don't agree with that at all. In fact, that's one of the things that I respect about this. And I want to talk a little bit about the band, about their legacy, and sort of want to reflect on the band for a minute. But one of the things that I really respect is that they are breaking up in the current time in which the nostalgia for this sort of stuff is at its peak. So if this was a cash grab, they would have stayed around, right? They would not be breaking up at the time when nostalgia for 2000s pop punk and emo stuff is at an all-time high. They wouldn't be breaking up. They would keep phoning it in for years and years and years, like lots of other bands, right? I don't agree at all that it's a cash grab. I think it's the opposite, because the band is probably more relevant now than they have been in a long time. And if all they wanted to do was make money, well, they would stick around, or maybe just do festivals or something like that. And like the Rolling Stones, like tons of other bands. So my first thought about this is I really respect the fact that they went out on top. They never put out a bad album. They never did anything embarrassing and cringy. It's not like Metallica, where they put out album after album after album that was terrible, that nobody liked, that even their hardcore fans think is awful. Like, they didn't do that. And that's really hard, especially think about, they've been a band for 27 years and they've never put out anything bad. Maybe there's some stuff you like better than others or whatever, but they've never put out anything bad. Right? So that was my first thought, is respect for that. Second is, it's pretty interesting, to see now how much of this stuff has stood the test of time. So if you want to talk about the Mount Rushmore of pop punk, well, actually, let me quote myself in the New York Times. How about that, people? Look at this. The New York Times wrote the following headline: Sum 41, pop punk band of early 2000s fame, says it will disband. With catchy songs like Fat Lip and In Too Deep, the Canadian band was part of a pop punk wave that included Blink-182, Simple Plan, Good Charlotte, and others. And look who is quoted here. Sum 41 is most definitely on the Mount Rushmore of early 2000s pop punk, said Finn Mckenty, the creator of the YouTube series The Punk Rock MBA, which features an episode on the strange history of Sum 41. To be able to ride the wave of the MTV type hype that they had and turn that into a career with real longevity and respect is a rare thing that they were able to pull off. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, people. I'm in the New York Times. Mom, are you proud of me, Mom? I just wish you were still here to see me quoted in this New York Times article about Sum 41, Mom. I hope you're proud of me, looking down at me up there from heaven. I hope I finally made you proud. Yeah, so there you go. All you people on Reddit with your 400 comment threads about how awful I am and how all my opinions are trash and I don't know anything about anything. Well, these people are still going to hate me. I was going to say, now you have to agree with all my opinions because I was in the New York Times. But in fact, this will just make them hate me even more. So it doesn't matter. But I do agree with what I said in the New York Times. I agree with my own quote. Number one, that, you know, when you're talking about pop punk, there really is a big four. In order, the big four are Blink-182, Good Charlotte, Sum 41, and Simple Plan. And the number five, the testament of pop punk, is Newfound Glory. So, I mean, I think it says a lot. Sum 41 is one of the big four of pop punk. They put the genre on the map back in the early 2000s, along with those other bands, and people still love them. There is never a time in which people fell out of love with Sum 41. Another thing that I think is pretty interesting is that they evolved their sound a lot. And All Killer No Filler, this album, is my personal favorite. This is my favorite one. If you look at like the fan favorites now, or fan favorite albums of Sum 41, it's actually not this one. People do like this album, but what people really like is actually their more metal stuff, such as Chuck. This is like practically thrash metal.
Welcome.
Not my favorite one, but
Sum 41.
I think this is actually what is the fan favorite now. Very thrash metal, right? Yeah, they are big fans of metal, and I don't care for the metal stuff. I like the more pop punk stuff because you guys know how I feel about metal and metal fans. However, I really respect that they evolved their sound, and almost without exception, a band's breakthrough album is the one that everybody loves, right? Like whatever it was, you know, like Dude Ranch or Enema of the State for Blink-182 or, you know, whatever it is. It's almost always a band's breakthrough album that ends up being the one that's the most beloved by fans. And with Sum 41, I think this is the album that actually I think is kind of the fan favorite, Chuck. And I think that this is the one that a lot of people would say as like their like entry point into metal and punk and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, the Sum 41 to Infinite Annihilator pipeline is real. There's some kid out there that heard this on MTV back when he was 13 years old. And then he listened to Lamb of God, and then he listened to whatever, Suicide Silence, and then he listened to Infinite Annihilator. So there we go. The Sum 41 to Infinite Annihilator pipeline. There it is. It's real, but it really is. So evolving your sound while still having respect is very, very, very difficult to do. You know, 9 times out of 10, when a band changes their sound, people hate it. But with Sum 41, it's the opposite. And then I think it's 2008, their album Underclass Hero, they kind of went back to playing pop punk again, and people like it. You know, I really respect bands that are able to evolve their sound because that's just so difficult to do. I personally like the pop punk stuff a little bit better than the metal stuff, but you know, whatever. The point is, respect to them for evolving it, and also respect to them for, you know, turning that. They could have been a one-hit wonder, right? Like Fat Lip very easily could have been, it was kind of a novelty song, you know, it had a little bit of the rapping in it, and they could have very easily been a one-hit wonder, but they weren't. You know, they ended up having a very long career, you know, 27 years playing pretty much at the top of their game. You know, maybe not as big as Blink in the current day, but still like very respectable career. So again, I respect anybody that's able to kind of do that. To turn that moment of hype into like a real career is extremely hard to do. Like, yeah, In Too Deep is a bigger hit, yes, but my point is exactly that. Fat Lip was their breakout song, and like, think of all the bands from that era, say like Fountains of Wayne or Bowling for Soup or whatever, that, you know, never had a bigger song than the one that broke them through. But with Sum 41, In Too Deep ended up being a bigger song, and Chuck ended up being the album that people liked even more. So my point is, it's hard enough just to have even one breakthrough moment, but to take that breakthrough moment and to evolve your music and turn it into a decades-long career, you know, that's even harder to do. They stayed relevant for a very, very long time. They did. I just saw them last year with Simple Plan, and it was packed. They both sounded great. They were as good as ever. So respect for that. Let's take a look at some of the fan reactions here from our friends at Loudwire. I'm sure the elder emos in shambles. Let's see here what the fans have to say. Sum 41 broke up. I can't effing handle this. Nick Nocturnal says Sum 41 is no longer still waiting. RIP to Sum 41. This record was a crazy huge part of my childhood and is literally perfect front to back. Truly lives up to its title. I agree with this. All killer, no filler. I gotta say, I think of all the like big pop punk albums of that era, I think this one is the most creative. Respect to all the other bands, but this one to me, like, it has that same feeling as Jackass, where when you're watching these videos and listening to these songs, you're like, man, I want to be friends. I want to hang out with these guys. You know, they felt like the friends that you wanted to have, which, I mean, that's like my favorite feeling when I listen to music. I agree. It is a no skip 10 out of 10 album. Yeah, I agree. Sum 41 is breaking up. Don't speak to me. Sum 41 is breaking up. Sad day for guys in their 30s. That is the truth. When I saw them with Simple Plan last year, some girl in front of us was drunk and was just like going off, just like sloppy drunk, like, wow, full on woo girl moment. And she looked like she was in her 30s. And her friend turned around and she was like, I'm so sorry. This is her first time away from her kids. She just really needs to have some fun. And I was like, totally fine. No problem. I get it. Mom needs to go rock. Farewell, Sum 41. We'll always have the time you got DMX to ride an ATV in someone's living room and the makes no difference video. There it is. Iconic moment. DMX on the four-wheeler. Iconic moment of 2000s pop punk. I literally just opened up twitter.com and said that Sum 41 was breaking up. What if I die? I want to give a shout out to, oh yeah, Dave Baksh. That's a good point. So Yasmin Summon, who I follow, which is a cool person. I just want to give a special shout out to Dave Baksh for being the representation so many brown kids needed in a white dominated field. Whether he realizes or not, his work in Sum 41 created such a safe space for brown punks and emo kids, and a safe space for metal as well, because in addition to being Indian, Dave also, sort of the defining element of Sum 41 is that everybody else in the band were like pop punk kids and he was a metal kid. So Dave bringing in the solos and the metal kind of riffing is what made Sum 41 into what they are, which I would say of those bands, their sort of metal influence is what made them special. And then he quit and then he came back and blah, blah, blah. So I agree that Dave is really kind of the secret weapon, not so secret weapon to Sum 41. So shout out to Dave. Yeah, people are sad. People are sad. 30-year-old elder emos in shambles, crying in their Emos Not Dead shirts, devastated and heartbroken that Sum 41 is calling it quits after 27 years. I will never recover from this. Ben, the emo anarcho-capitalist, will never recover from this. In shambles. Very sad. Sum 41 is breaking up. F everything. So, you know, I think it says a lot. You know, if a band breaks up, this is what you want to see. You know, you want to see people say that they're devastated. Sum 41 is disbanding. Part of my childhood is gone, bro. This is what you want to see, rather than, imagine if I said that I was going to stop making videos. Everyone on Twitter would be like, thank God I'm never going to see that asshole on my feed again. Fuck, I hated that guy. If I ever see another video from him again, it'll be too soon. Or maybe even worse, crickets. Yeah, you don't want to put off your exit to the point where nobody even notices. Exactly. Where you announce that you're breaking up and everyone's like, yeah, all right, cool. Well, I'll see you. You know, bye. Now, the last question is, will they come back? You know, who knows? I think a lot of people, the reaction that I saw from a lot of people was like, oh, they're just breaking up so that they can come back and do a reunion tour. This is, again, that this is a cash grab. You know, they're only breaking up so they can do a reunion tour, you know, or come back. And who knows? Maybe they will. Maybe they will, but I don't know. It seems very cynical to me. Maybe they will come back, you know, but it seems very cynical and weird to think that a band would break up just to create like artificial demand for their music. To me, I don't think people do that. By the way, this video for the Hell song, to me, this is like everything that I like about Sum 41. You know, this is like a DIY video they made with, you know, Light Bright and action figures in their basement. This is what I would have done. Their faces literally like scotch taped to the action figures. Like, I don't know, this kind of like just endearing suburban, like, you know, goofiness. This is what I want from Sum 41, and it's really what I miss about this era of pop punk in general. You know, just like PG-13 rated fun. It's not R, because, you know, they only say the F word a few times. It's lighthearted. It's not too like serious and intense, but it's not totally like G-rated and sanitized either. It's just, you know, PG-13. To me, that's the legacy of the band. You know, people remember this just for being the soundtrack to good times when you're in the early 2000s, you know? Good times. And what a thing to be remembered for. So if they come back, you know, good for them. They've earned the right. They went out on top. They're not one of these bands that had album after album after album of trash and everyone's like, good riddance, go away. It's about time you broke up. If they come back, I think they've earned it more than anything else. I think shout out to Sum 41. I got to wonder who's going to be next. Simple Plan still going strong. Blink still going strong, you know, back in action. Good Charlotte, I don't think they're broken up. I don't think, but they're not really active. You know, you got to figure this stuff is 25, 30, 35 years old now. Like Blink started in what, 92 or something like that. So there's only a matter of time before these bands break up, unless we want people to be playing pop punk into their 60s, which I don't think we want that. I think the move is to do what Sum 41 did and go out on top when you're still like at your best. Go out when you're still respected, when you're still putting out good stuff. You don't want to go out sad. You want to go out on top. So shout out to the Sum 41s, the Sums. Shout out to the Sums. Thank you for the good times. And yeah, if you come back, you are welcome. They're welcome at my barbecue anytime. That's what I say. Thank you for your service, the Sums. Thank you for your service.